Yantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So we were seeing the 8th chapter, the Prayana Kale. Stop. We saw that quite well. Okay. Because it all in answer to Arjuna's question. Okay. At the time of death, how will you free yourself? Okay. But it is not at the time of death that you free, you do it before, okay? Yeah. That's important, yeah. Okay. Then Krishna just wraps up that idea in the next couple of verses. He says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu maam anusmara yudhyacha mayyarpita mano buddhihi Mameveshisi asamshayah. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. At all times. At all times. 24/7. Okay. At all times, he says, Mam anusmara yudhyacha. At the same time, fight your battles. Okay. Mam anusmara, fight your battles. Hey, my mind not does one thing at a time. Okay. If I think of you, I can't fight the battle because I am thinking of the Lord. I'll have bhakti in my heart. If I am fighting a war, I am confronting the enemy. What bhakti are you talking about? What bhakti are you talking about? Yeah, because I am facing a battle. When I am fighting the battle, I fight the battle. When I think of you, I think of you. Correct? This is our normal state of affairs. Okay. How come so few people are turned on their videos today? Others have a poor connection. Or what? If you have a good connection, please turn it on. Okay? Bad connection, I can understand that you don't. I know some people are very conscious how they look, etc. Don't worry. This is the only time we will see your faces without masks. Otherwise, we always see with masks on. Can't see the face only. Okay. Don't bother whether you are dressed or not dressed properly, all that doesn't matter. None of that matters. Okay. Anyway, we think when I am doing something, I am thinking of it. When I am thinking of something else, I am thinking of that. But God is not one of the things in the world. God is not one of the things in the world. It's important to understand this. All of us have a same fundamental relationship to Ishvara. A creator-created relationship. No? You relate to Ishvara in the same manner. Your child relates to Ishvara in the same manner. Whether he understands or not, it's creator created. Your enemy also relates to Ishvara in the same manner. It's all creator created. So if it's all creator created, you have a fundamental relationship. Therefore, it cannot really be out of sight, out of mind. That is why he is saying in the next verse, Mayyarpita mano buddhihi. Okay? Mayyarpita mano buddhihi. With your mind and body, etc., offer to me. Ishvara arpana buddhya. So this is what Karma Yoga is about. God is never out of sight, out of mind for you. Ishvara is never out of sight, out of mind. Ishvara is everything. Therefore, whether you are with loving friends or with enemies, Ishvara Arpitam, result Prasada Buddhi. And don't worry, these are difficult times. You will get enough occasions. You will get enough occasions to do that. Enough occasions. Yeah. Enough occasions to do that. Because that's how it is. Yeah. Ishvara Arpanam, Prasada Buddhi will always be there. Pandemic times, na? Thoda hoega aisa. Therefore, this is the whole thing. To live your life when everything is offered to Ishvara and all your karmas are offered to Ishvara, what is the problem? It is not out of sight, out of mind. The more busy you are, the greater karma yogi you can be. Why? Because a lot of chances for Ishvara Arpanam Prasada Buddhi, Ishvara Arpanam Prasada Buddhi. Yeah. So the Karma Yoga is meant for people who are busy in life, who have 100 things to do. Yeah. Because every action is offered to Ishvara. The result is taken as prasada. Therefore, you never forget Ishvara. How can you forget? You forget because you take Ishvara as one of the things. See, there is always a personalization in our understanding of Ishvara. This is called Ishta Devata. How best you can relate to Ishvara through a given form. That form helps you evoke the bhakti, etc. out of yourself. That's why there are so many stories, so many forms, so many stories. They are only meant to be your Ishta Devata. This is not your understanding of Ishvara. This is a portal through which you relate to Ishvara. You have to understand Ishvara as a whole order, the cosmic order. That from which everything has manifest, that which sustains everything, into which everything is resolved. So in that understanding, there is nothing separate from Ishvara. Ishvara is the material cause of the whole universe. This bottle is not separate from Ishvara. What is it? Just a water bottle, yeah, big deal. What are you making a big deal out of it? So if you want, you can invoke Ishvara in this bottle, no? Because any form is his form. Therefore, in one form you can invoke whole of Ishvara. Therefore, it will become bottle Ishvara. Some people will be very happy to call it bottle Ishvara, okay? For very obvious reasons. But not separate from Ishvara anyway. Yeah. You know, years ago, quite a few years ago, this man I am speaking about is no more. Okay. He was a doctor, good doctor. But he had a problem with alcohol. Okay. So he came to me. He had a heart attack because of this habit. And His wife had left him. He was in a mess. So another doctor got him to me. Says he's going to our AA and everything, please help him. I said, yeah. If he's going for Alcoholics Anonymous, he has gone through a detox program, etc., then I will add to it. But if he's not doing those things, forget it. Not worth it. I'm not going to do anything about it. Because you're wasting your time. So, okay. Then to cut the long story short, I was taking a group to Badri Kedar. And he wanted to come. I said, yes, you can come. You're welcome. But one thing, if you get drunk and oversleep, and it is time for the bus to go, the bus will go. Wherever we are, you will be left behind. Are you willing for that? This is called tough love, okay? I like the character, but I have to be tough with it. He said yes. And believe me, at every place, he was the first person to be in the bus. Very strict discipline. Then we went to Kedarnath. We walked all the way from Gaurikund. Not like now you can go by helicopter and come. No, we walked. When you go on a yatra, you should go proper like yatra. So we walked up to Kedarnath, had darshan, stayed overnight. Next day we came back. And coming back takes lesser time. So we managed to get into the bus and come up to Rudraprayag. Now Rudraprayag there is an army cantonment. Now when there is an army cantonment, non-vegetarian food and drinks will be available. So this man comes to me and says, Swamiji, see, I have followed discipline right through. Yes. And tomorrow you said we are leaving a bit aram se because people are tired of 2 days of walking. I said, yes. Sir, give me permission today to go and have some non-vegetarian food. I said, only non-vegetarian food? Swamiji, you know me. I said, yeah, but the rule still stands, okay? If morning you are not in the bus, you are left behind. Yes. Now, even though I say all that, and he is an adult and everything, ultimately, I am taking the group. Responsibility is mine. How can I duck that responsibility? So when he left, I followed him to find out where he is going. I know there are only 2-3 places he can go to. Don't ask me how I know these things. Huh? It is my job to know all these. Because what type of people I am taking, I know. So I found him sitting in one of the places. I said, okay, here is. If he doesn't come back in the night, I know where to find him. And his father is a big man in this village. He is from Bihar. Father is a big man in the village. And a priest on top of it. Okay? Known for his priestly activities, his saintliness and all that. So he is sitting there and enjoying himself when some people from his village land up. Himalayas, everyone lands up in the Himalayas at some time or the other in their lives. Those of you who have not landed up, let me see what I can do after the pandemic is over, okay? And they asked him, अरे साहब, आप यहाँ क्या कर रहा है? अरे हमारे गुरुजी के साथ थोड़ा 4 धाम यात्रा में आया हूँ. Then they looked at his plate. महाराज जी ये क्या खा रहे हैं आप? ये तो महाकाली के प्रसाद है. और ये ग्लास में ये तो गंगा जल है. What I am trying to say is, Ishvara Arpanam everything, okay? If you can eat it, you can offer it. If you can't offer it, don't eat it. Simple as that. Simple as that. How can I offer this action to the Lord? don't do it then. If you think those actions are wrong and cannot be offered to the Lord, don't do it. But these are all grey area actions, Swamiji. Offer it to the Lord. See how it works out. Karma phala is going to come to you anyway. By the way, the doc came back. By 9 o'clock, he was back in his room. And everything was fine. Okay. I'm not saying you should become like the doctor. What I am trying to say is, Ishvara Arpanam Prasada Buddhi with respect to everything. That is Karma Yoga lifestyle. Therefore, God is never out of sight, out of mind. However busy you are, not a problem. Yeah. Therefore, he says, Mayyarpita Mano Buddhihi Mayyeva Eshasi na Samshayaha. He'll come to me alone. Why? Because Karma Yoga, the other part of Karma Yoga is seeking the truth, seeking the knowledge. Therefore, if you seek the knowledge and live a life of Karma Yoga, how can you not gain moksha? It is not that you are not a yogi if you cannot touch your toes, okay? If you can touch your toes, good, okay? The asana, pranayama, if you are following, is good. It will take care of your physical health as well. It's a good thing to do. But just by tying up your body in knots, you don't become a yogi. Yeah. Therefore, this attitude of Karma Yoga, important even for the one who is doing asana, pranayama, etc. Because in the niyama, there is one value there called Ishvara Pranidhanam. In the Yama Niyama, it is there. A sense of surrender to Ishvara. That is the place from where the Karma Yoga Buddhi can come into your life. Yeah. I mean, you may try to make yoga as secular as you want, because to gain greater acceptance in the world, but fact remains that it has got Hindu origins. The source is the Upanishad. There are 30 Yoga Upanishads. 30 Upanishads dealing with yoga. You can't overlook that. Okay. You can't overlook that. So keeping that in mind, okay, he says, Mayyeva eshasi asamshayaha. You will reach me alone. That means if you are living a life of Karma Yoga and seeking the knowledge, how can you be away from moksha? Swamiji, I have been doing it for some time. Yeah, it takes some time. After all, you have to understand fully, na? You are only halfway through the Gita. और आधा बाकी है ना. Okay, then he is giving you some more in the wrapping up. Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanya paramam purusham divyam yati partha anuchintayan. Paramam purusham divyam yati. Hey Partha. Pruthaputraha Partha, the son of Prutuhu, Partha. Okay. Anuchintayan, regularly keeping in mind. You will reach Paramam Purusham Divyam. What reaching is there? The journey is from I to myself. Journey is from I to myself. But now, in these 6 chapters, from 7th, 8th onward, 6 chapters, the same truth, the emphasis is on Ishvara. First 6 chapters, the emphasis was on me, I, awareness. The next 6, the emphasis is on Ishvara. Therefore, he says, how do you gain that? Abhyasa yoga yuktena. Abhyasa yoga yuktena. Okay, can you all hear me? After a long time the Wi-Fi is giving some trouble. If it gives trouble once again, I will switch over to my phone, through the phone. Okay. I think all of you may have to just switch on your videos again, okay, because I can't see anyone. I can hear you all, but I can't see anyone.
It's on, Swamiji.
Okay, I think this is better. I think this is better because I shifted over to my phone. Right. Yeah. That's it. Okay. I mean, I routed the laptop through the phone. That's it. A connection through the phone. Okay. So he says, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. What is Abhyasa Yoga? Abhyasa Yoga is not anything separate from Karma Yoga. Okay. Abhyasa means repeated practice. Consciously repeating something. You heard about Ishwararpanam Prasada Buddhi. You heard that. Then you have to bring those attitudes into your life, no? You have to bring those attitudes into your life. That always takes some time, some effort, some conscious practice. That is called Abhyasa Yoga. To consciously practice. Okay? Not a mechanical practice. Okay? Consciously to repeat something. In fact, if you are in Kerala, Maluland, okay, Maluland, my home village, okay, there is an expression, you know, who's that person? He walks so dynamically. Who's that guy? And the people will tell you, oh, he's an Abhyasi. They'll say, he's an Abhyasi. Abhyasi can literal translation of Abhyasi is practitioner. But it is understood. Among Mallus, if you say he's an Abhyasi, you know he's a Kalari practitioner. You know he's a Kalari practitioner. Why? Because that is one discipline you have to consciously practice and practice and practice. Martial art disciplines are like that. Yeah. You are taught a new punch. All right. Go. Practice it on the bag, punching bag. Okay, fine. How many times? 5, 10, 15, 20? 500 times with each hand. 500 times with each hand consciously. Then you had a decent practice today. A decent practice, not a great practice, okay? A decent practice. So abhyasa means that conscious repetition. Similarly, karma yoga is the same thing. Ishwararpanam prasada buddhi. Consciously you bring it into your life. Consciously. Until it becomes natural. You practice it consciously until it becomes second nature for you. Then without thinking you can do it. It's your second nature. This is true for any discipline, physical or mental, or both. Even a yoga pose is like that. Huh? Simple thing like touching your toes. Okay, stretch your spine, push your butt backwards. Don't bend your knee. Bend forward, fold your body forward. Consciously you have to practice that. No? Until afterwards, after that, all these movements are very spontaneous, very natural. Why? Because you have consciously put it into your system. Every cell in your body remembers that. There is something called cellular memory for a physical discipline. The same way here. This is more attitude wise. Consciously bring in that attitude until it becomes a second nature. Abhyasa yoga. That's what abhyasa is about. To do something consciously until it becomes spontaneous. Spontaneous, not reactive. Okay, there's a big difference between the two. Not instinctive. Okay. And how is that? Chetasa na anyagamina. By your mind, because this is a mental attitude. It's an attitude you're bringing about. So that attitude will involve understanding of Ishvara as the cosmic order. We have seen that, and we will see it again when that topic comes up. I will elaborate it more again. Okay, understanding Ishvara. Understanding Ishvara minimum as karma phala data, as the one responsible for you getting your karma phalas. Minimum, bare minimum, that is. That's not a great understanding, that's minimum understanding. A good understanding is when you understand Ishvara as a cosmic order. And what is the best understanding? Ishvara and I are non-different. That's the old teaching. It has to fulfill itself into that. Therefore, this understanding of Ishvara as a cosmic order, the more you understand that, he says, by your mind, na anyagamina, that doesn't run here and there for other things. Remember, all that karma yoga involves. We saw that in the second and third chapters. First, living by your priorities, not just by your desires. Important. Why? Because 100 desires, you may or may not be able to fulfill all of them. But behind that 100 desires are about 10 priorities, half a dozen priorities. What is your priority? The need behind the desire. Okay. So, those half a dozen priorities you can always fulfill. So, to focus on the priorities, not on the desires. Because if you fulfill a priority, the desire is automatically fulfilled, as good as fulfilled. So, when you get that, that means what? When you are focusing on your priorities, you have more time on hand. You are not running around like a headless chicken. A chicken with a head is bad enough. If you have seen it on the, nowadays people don't see chickens running around freely, because you see chicken only in a poultry farm where they're all caged. If you go to the villages, every house will have a few chickens and they're all roaming around, running around here and there, here and there, here and there. And very interesting to see what a chicken does. What do you think a chicken will first scratch the ground? Then what do you think it does? Next step? No, before that there is one more step. Remember, the chicken's leg is at the center of the body, the head is in front. So once it scratches, it takes a step back to see what it has come out. Yeah, observe, you will notice that. Those who are staying in a village right now, 2-3 people of you are in village homes. Check it out. Yeah, he'll step back and then see what it is. He's not going to mindlessly eat. He'll only eat food. Yeah, they're simple observations. Otherwise, you will see chickens running around, headless chickens, that we call it. Therefore, instead of running around like that, you focus on your priorities. Then, with respect to the action, Ishwararpanam, because the very fact you can do an action is the Lord's gift to you. That you have something inside. You not only have a head, but there is something inside also. You have hands and legs and ability to do. You have the freedom to desire. You have the will to act. And possibility of action is there. All that is God-given. Swamiji, God-given, I developed it a lot by myself. Yeah, but the possibility of development is also God-given. So to understand Ishvara as the cosmic order, the more you understand, the greater bhakta you become. Again, I am cautioning here, don't equate bhakti just to bhajan singing or puja part. Yeah. Bhakti is much more than that. Bhakti is there in every action you do. It's like when you are in love and you are doing something for the person you love. Love is there in every action. No? It is not that love is there only when you get some flowers. There is more love when you make a cup of tea. Yeah. Flowers on the way home, you picked it up in the market and came. Making a cup of tea properly required some more effort. Yeah. So, with that love you are doing something. Similarly, with bhakti you are doing. So, Ishwararpanam. And the result, prasadaha, because it comes from the Lord. The result is shaped by the laws of the Lord. Therefore, prasadaha. Therefore, abhyasa yoga na anyagamina. With respect to all your action, this is your focus. When you have done that for some time, and you are also exposing yourself to the knowledge. Remember, why are you a karma yogi? Not for stress management. Stress management is a fringe benefit of karma yoga. You are not taking to karma yoga for stress management. That is side effect. Okay, fringe benefit. Fringe benefit. You are doing it for moksha because you will have a mind that can gain the truth, knowledge of the truth. Therefore, you are exposing yourself to the knowledge of the truth. When you do that, he says, Paramam Purusham Divyam Yanti. The Parama Purushaha, that absolute consciousness, you will understand that, he says. Yeah. Okay. Therefore, Anyagamina here can mean not straying from the path of yoga. You know, you say na in Hindi, idhar udhar bhatakta nahi hai. You live your life by what you want. Nothing wrong in all those desires. You live your life. Remember, we can't accept our desires, you know, which is a tragedy. We can't. I've seen people not being able to say, I want something. I remember going on this journey, Bombay to Kerala, when I was a kid, okay? That's a long time back. a long time back. Okay. And Kadapa would come, that whole Andhra, that Kadapa section will come in the afternoon, hot. Second class sleeper compartment, you can imagine what will be. Hot. And that is the time these characters will come with a bucket, with ice in it, and cold drink bottles in it. So I remember this couple. So as kids, everyone will say, hey, daddy, I want that cold drink, I want it. And daddy gets it for people. Then he'll find his wife looking at it, but not saying a thing. And he'll ask, would you like one? I mean, he's an understanding man, Would you like one? She can't say yes. She is brought up to believe desires are bad. So she counter questions, will it be cold? Array, this is kept in ice blocks are surrounding it. What do you expect it to be hot or what? But the man, he was a empathetic guy, In spite of being old world, he'll say, yes, it is cold. Please have one. And the lady gratefully takes it. But what I noticed there is the inability to say, yeah, I want one. Because desire is bad, no? No. Only human beings can desire. Can a cow get up in the morning and say, I want an omelette for breakfast? A cow cannot do it. A human being can say, Arey yaar, roz I am eating upma, ek omelette khayega. Human being can have a desire. Yeah. So it is not the desire that is a problem. Anyagamina meaning being lost from the path of yoga. That Ishvara Arpanam and Prasada Buddhi is gone from your life. Then your mind will get into a bit of a mess. I mean, it is not a big mess because that is normal in life, so it's okay. Other people will take it as normal. But from the standpoint of a student of Vedanta, someone who is striving for moksha, it will become a mess. Yeah. Therefore, na anyagamina, not straying from that. Ishwararpanam, prasada buddhi, whatever it is. Yeah. And keeping dharma in view also. The big picture of dharma in view. That's also important. Because you can't have karma yoga without the big picture of dharma. Dharma is not rules and regulations, okay? Dharma is the principles behind rules and regulations. Therefore, follow the principle. Therefore, 80% of the time you will grow by following the rules, because the rules are in harmony with the principles. 20% of the times you will grow by breaking the rules. Why? Because those are exceptions. There is no rule made by God or man that does not have exceptions. 80-20, it works well. It works well. Not the other way around, 20-80, okay. 80-20, then it works okay. Yeah. Therefore, na anyagamina, all that comes into the picture. Because this is summing up of the whole karma yoga that is there. Okay. All right, abhyasa yogena, understanding of Ishvara, etc. Can I have an understanding of that? So, Krishna gives you a description of what you are going to contemplate upon also. Because remember, contemplating on Ishvara is what will develop your bhakti. Okay. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram Anoho Aniyan Sam Anusmerayadhyah Sarvasya Dhataram Achantya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasaparastat. A beautiful description. Okay. Kavihi. Kavi doesn't mean poet here. Kavi is not a poet. Kavi means poet also. In this context, Kavi means Kranta Drishtihi, the one who is all knowing. If it is applied to a person, It means one who has got foresight. Dirgha Drishti, he's got foresight. Hindsight all of us can have. Foresight. Okay, yeah. Like the whole world is talking about how badly we are handling the epidemic. In hindsight, did any one of them have the foresight to say it in first, in the beginning? Not one of them. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the vaccine manufacturer stepped up their production, but they had to. Stepping up production means what? Technology first. After that, raw materials. Only after that, the vaccines will come into the market. So expected only in June. All that takes time, even if you have foresight. Okay. Yeah. What do you think? We want. Supreme Court can pass an order. In 4 days, so much of vaccine shots should be available. In 20 years, you have not decided whether Salman Khan was driving the car or not driving the car. And you are saying in 4 days you want vaccines be available. क्या बात कर रहा है? 30 years for a property dispute to be settled. And you are saying in 1 week oxygen should be available. New plant should be set up in 1 week. What nonsense is that? Yeah. What nonsense is that? Anyway, that's a side comment, okay? That's a side comment. Don't take it too seriously. Kavi he, one who has got foresight, it is a human being. When it is applied to the Lord, it means one who is all-knowing. Kavi he, okay? Kavi he. Puranam, the one who was always there. Pura api navam. In olden times also he was the same, new. He was new even in olden times. Now, of course, he is new, meaning timelessness. Puranam, okay, again, Puranam applied to the Lord, timelessness. When applied, otherwise it says old stories. Okay. Puranam, okay. Anushasitaram, the one who is behind all the laws of the universe. Not only ethical code, your gravity, your laws of quantum physics, what is all that? From the same source of intelligence. You are studying it as separate disciplines, but the source, the intelligent source is the one and the same thing. Anushasitaram. We are only studying it, we are not making any law, except constitutional laws, which we keep amending 95 times in 75 years. What type of a constitution is that? Yeah. So here is a different story altogether. Anushasitaram. The laws that don't change. The laws that don't change for anyone. Whether a saint steps out of the balcony or a sinner steps out of the balcony, he will come down at 32 feet per second per second. Gravity will not change. See? Anushasitaram, the inner ruler, okay. Anoho aniyan. This is a small quote from an Upanishad statement. Very beautiful quote, actually. The whole quote is Anoho aniyan mahato mahiyan. That which is smaller than the smallest is bigger than the biggest. I told you the story, no? Of how I heard this character talking. He was explaining the Upanishad. These are the times I get irritated upon, you know. And my hand really starts itching. It's only my discipline as a martial artist that keeps me from doing anything. The Upanishad explains the truth in contradictory terms. Smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. Up to here is Upanishadic. Then he is adding. Taller than the tallest, shorter than the shortest, fatter than the fattest. My hands was literally itching to wring his neck. Because he is abusing the Upanishad there. What is the statement? Anoho aniyan. You think of anything small, this is smaller than that. What is small? Atom? No, atom has got 3 particles in it. Basic. Electron, neutron, proton. Smaller than that. Subatomic particles. Smaller than that. Oh, that goddamn particle we have found. God particle. Smaller than that. Means what? Any form can be resolved into something smaller. Something smaller. Because content. We have seen that before. Remember? Book. Small. Not a big thing. Small. It's only 700 verses. Compared to the Ramayana, 24,000 verses. Oh my God. That is big. This is small. Compared to the Mahabharata, 1 lakh verses. Oh my God. How can you read them? It takes 5 years for me to read it. The original Sanskrit work. Okay. So what is the content of the book? Paper. Paper, wood pulp. Wood pulp, hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons, molecules. Molecules, atoms. Atoms, subatomic particles. Smaller, smaller, smaller. What is the smallest? Don't say nothing. I'll whack you with this book. Then you will know it's something, not nothing. It has to exist, but no form. Because if it has got a form, I will tell you it is smaller than that. So the smallest is something that exists, but no form. No form means no boundaries. No boundaries means limitlessness. That which is smaller than the smallest itself is bigger than the biggest. The same thing is both. Anoho aniyan mahato mahiyan. Same thing. Okay. There is nothing contradictory about it. Okay. It's very clear. It's contradictory for people who don't understand, or for people who don't have the sampradaya of teaching with them. Okay. Anoho aniyan mahato mahiyan. Anusmaredya. Contemplating on this. Contemplating on this. Not only that, this is in terms of the reality, in terms of the expression. Sarvasya dhataram. That which sustains everything. This existence consciousness is that which sustains everything in the world. Because anything in the world is what? Existence consciousness. In some things consciousness is manifest. You call it living. In some consciousness is not manifest, only existence is manifest. You call it inert. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. Sarvasya dhataram achintya roopam. That which is not an object of your thought. Why? It is the very content of every thought as I. It is the content of a thought. We have seen that in our meditation sessions. The whole, what is you call as a thought, rises from the silence that is awareness, drops down into the silence that is awareness. All that is there is only that silence awareness. Therefore, it is not an object of a thought. It is the very content of the thought. I awareness. Achintya roopam. Aditya varnam. Aditya varnam is a way of presenting it. Bright as the sun, meaning nothing but pure consciousness, not an inert thing, a consciousness thing. Yeah, the light of awareness. Tamasa parastat, beyond all darkness, beyond all ignorance. Does the sun know darkness at any time? That's why that example is given. The sun. Okay, let me tell you a small story. the sun heard about this dusky beauty called Miss Night. Okay. He heard she was in India. So the sun traveled across, came to India. Where is Miss Night? No? The antipodes is in America. So all over he travels, but he'll never meet Miss Night. Sun doesn't know any darkness. The sun is never covered by any cloud. It is our vision of the sun that can be covered. The sun is never covered. Ganachanna drishtihi ganachanna markam yatha manyate cha atimuda. Atimuda, a great idiot, says the sun is covered when actually his drishti, his vision is covered by the clouds. Sa nityopalabdhi swarupoham atma. Aham atma. Nityopalabdhi swarupaha. You don't have any ignorance. Swamiji, I am ignorant of so many things. Are you aware of your ignorance? Yes. Then you are the one who is objectifying the ignorance. You are free from that ignorance. But I still have ignorance, no? Your mind has. Not you, the consciousness. You, the consciousness, is free from ignorance. The mind may have some ignorance. And that we can deal with. I am never ignorant. Tamasah parastat. Beyond all darkness. Beyond all ignorance. That is why it is not the Atma that has a problem of bondage and ignorance. Okay? It is not the Atma that has a problem of bondage and ignorance. It is the manifestation of that Atma in the mind. And in the mind there is ignorance. Therefore, I don't know myself. Which I, the I that is manifest in the mind, does not know myself. And at the same time, I know I am, I exist. I know that very well. Everyone knows that. I know I am without the necessity of a thought or a means of knowledge. That much self-awareness is there. Therefore, I know I am, but I don't know what I am. Therefore, I'll make certain self-judgments about myself. Certain self-judgments I will make. We don't like others judging us, but we have already judged ourselves. I am like this only. Typical Indian statement. I am like this only. What to do? I am like this only. That guy is what we call the Ahankara. Therefore, the Ahankara can be a proud Ahankara or a simple Ahankara. Ahankara is common. Proud, arrogant, simple, humble. All that you can give adjectives. All that is further self-judgments. This is simple Ahankara. The one that is suffering from ignorance and therefore seeks moksha. What is the seeking? I want freedom from my problems. Supposing you were to ask that guy, are you aware of your problems or are you not aware of it? If you are not aware of your problems, you will not seek freedom from them. You don't even know you have a problem. If you know your problems, you cannot seek freedom from it. Why? Because you are independent of it. You are the I, the subject. The problems is what you are objectifying. It is not you. But Swamiji, they are my problems. They belong to the Ahankara. They belong to your conceptual self, not to you, the real self. They all belong to only your conceptual self. So the conceptual self is what is seeking moksha. And the conceptual self has to understand, I am limitless awareness, not this idea of what I am. We have an idea of who we are. That is not true. That's at the most it has some functional validity. But your idea of you is always evolving, always changing. It's never constant. You think it is constant, it is not. It keeps changing with your thoughts. It's evolving idea. Look back, what were your attitudes, etc. 2 years back to what it is now. What you considered important 2 years back to what you consider important now. A lot of changes would be there. You can look back and say, I have grown. Or you can look back and say, nahi yaar, thoda deterioration ho gaya. Ho sakta hai. You're aware of it, no? Then you can do something about it. Yeah, this keeps changing. So that's all your conceptual self, your functioning entity, which has a problem, which seeks freedom. And the freedom is in knowing itself that I am not this conceptual self, I am that pure limitless awareness. Then you will wear the dress of ahankara to function in the world. Imagine two wise men talking. अरे महाराज जी क्या हो गया आपको आज? अरे आज थोड़ा गुरु का रोल कर रहा है, कोई शिष्यगण आया है इसके लिए गुरु का रोल कर रहा है. अच्छा अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा बात है. आप क्या कर रहा है? अरे उधर भंडारा में बुलाया, थोड़ा भंडारा खा के आ जाएगा. भोक्ता का रोल कर रहा है. भंडारा इज अ फीस्ट फॉर साधुस, ओके. सो भोक्ता का रोल कर रहा है. आर यू अ भोक्ता? नो. आर यू अ कर्ता? नो. ऑल रोल्स. All roles. Are you getting the idea? It's just a role that you wear, a dress that you wear. Ahankara becomes your dress to function in the world. Like for all your functions, you have appropriate dresses, isn't it? Your formal wear when you go to the office or you're meeting a client or something like that. Your smart casuals when you go for an office party. Your pajama bottoms and top nice when you are working from home. Okay. Whatever, I mean, like how you have dress for everything, similarly, you have an aspect of ahankara for every functioning. Yeah, you are the limitless consciousness, the functioning. अरे महाराज जी अभी नेता बन गया क्या? You can ask योगी आदित्यनाथ लिखना. क्या नेता बन गया? महाराज जी बनकर. अरे यार रोल कर रहा हूँ. If he knows the truth. I think he does. I know the guy. Met him a few times at our Acharya Sabhas. Okay. Roll kar raha hu. That's it. Then do you have to think of prayana kale? If you are living like this? You are living in freedom. What does it matter how you die? Whether you sat in samadhi and you died, or you died with corona, or you had a massive heart attack. Ki farak pende? What difference does it make? You died on the banks of the Ganga. Or you died in an accident somewhere. कुछ फर्क पड़ा क्या? I don't have birth or death. What are you talking about? The body is but an empty shell. So more of this, okay? We can see later. Good place to stop. Okay. Om Tat Sat. Have a great day. Things are fine.